This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Florida's primary election day is less than a month away. Let's meet the candidates. Rally 2020 begins now.
This original program is provided as a public service by WSRE, the League of Women Voters, and Pensacola State College.
Good evening and welcome to Rally 2020. I'm Mollye Barrows with WSRE-TV, and I will be joined this evening by Sandra Averhart with WUWF Public Media. This is the first of two nights we will be with you for Rally 2020 election coverage right here on WSRE-TV, PBS for the Gulf Coast. Rally is also being simulcast on News Radio 1620 and 92.3 FM. Primary election day is August 18th. Tonight and tomorrow evening, you'll meet the candidates from primary races in Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa counties, as well as candidates for the state races that impact these counties. The seat for the first U.S. Congressional District is also on the ballot. Joining me now is WUWF's Sandra Averhart.
Thank you, Mollye. Tonight, the spotlight is on the congressional race, as well as State House Representative Districts 1 and 2, and contests for Escambia County Commission Districts 1, 3, and 5. Tomorrow night, we'll meet the candidates running for State Representative District 4 and those running for offices in Okaloosa and Santa Rosa counties. In Santa Rosa County, those races include Superintendent of Schools and School Board Districts 2 and 4, as well as County Commission Districts 1, 3, and 5. In Okaloosa County, voters will also be electing officials for Superintendent of Schools and School Board District 2, as well as County Commission Districts 1, 3, and 5. Now, because of COVID-19 constraints, this year, WSRE has produced Rally differently than in years past. Traditionally, Rally has aired live with candidates in each race seated side by side. In this year's primary election edition of Rally, the candidates were recorded individually, as well as your host, while observing COVID-19 precautions. Now, this year, 51 candidates for federal, state, and local offices in Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa counties were invited to participate in Rally. In early July, they were provided with 2 questions prepared by the League of Women Voters. Later in the month, a total of 42 candidates came to WSRE to respond to those questions and record a 2-minute closing statement about their candidacy. Now, the candidates were given up to 45 seconds to answer each of the League's 2 questions. When necessary, a warning bell was sounded at 40 seconds, and 3 bells indicated the time limit had been reached. Candidates were given a maximum of 2 minutes to make their closing statements. When necessary, a warning bell was sounded at 1 minute 45 seconds, and 3 bells indicated the 2-minute limit had been reached. Now, unlike previous editions of Rally, this year candidates did not hear the responses and statements of their opponents because they were all recorded individually and therefore did not have an opportunity to make rebuttals.
We begin tonight with the race for Escambia County Commission District 1. This contest is a universal primary, meaning it is open to both Republican and Democratic Party voters, as well as voters with no party affiliation. The winner will become the District 1 County Commissioner. There are 4 candidates in this race, and they are all Republicans. In alphabetical order, the candidates are Mr. Jeff Bergosh, Mr. Jesse Casey, Mr. Jonathan Owens, and Mr. Jimmie Trotter. Again, the candidates were given 45 seconds each to answer 2 questions provided by the League of Women Voters of the Pensacola Bay Area, and 2 minutes to give a final statement on their candidacy. The first question is this: as Escambia County continues facing future growth, how can the Commission ensure that planned development will protect natural resources and update infrastructure? The second question is, if elected, what actions would you take to address the social and economic inequalities in your district? Please provide examples. We begin in alphabetical order with Mr. Jeff Bergosh.
Well, plan development always goes through our processes that the county has prescribed and that are indicated in the Land Development Code. So that typically entails a person bringing his plan to the planning board, and it goes through our Development Services Department, and it's thoroughly vetted. And we ensure when we look at these projects that they meet the stormwater requirements, that they meet strict environmental requirements, and most importantly, that they meet the letter and the spirit of our Land Development Code that protects the environment and ensures that the building is built to the current standards. And that's how we do that. Well, one thing that we do right now, and I'm very proud of, is we've brought forward the initiative, the Escambia County Youth Commission. I brought that forward, the full board approved it, and that's a way we can reach out to the area youth and educate them and outreach to them about actually how a local government operates. Another thing we do is we're very active with our summer youth employment program. We put a lot of area youth to work and keep them productive over the summer. We also have parks and recs and recreational sports leagues that build character and development. And of course, we have an outstanding parks department. We have dozens of parks around the community. And all those things together help build the character of young men and women in the community. And of course, we strongly support that. And those are some of the ways that we help our area youth.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
First of all, I want to thank WSRE for providing this opportunity for all the candidates. We appreciate this every year. I know it's a little bit different in the era of COVID. I'm Jeff Burgash. I'm your current County Commissioner for Escambia County District 1. It has been my honor and privilege to serve you over the last 4 years as your Commissioner. And we've got a lot of work done. We've done a lot of great things in District 1. We've got a lot of roads built, a lot of drainage improvements, parks improvements. We've done all kinds of things, and it's been a real pleasure serving the district. One thing I would say, in this election, there are qualified men running with me, but in this era of COVID-19, experience matters. Experience now more than ever is just a dramatic, vital need. And I would simply say this, I urge all voters to look at each candidate. Look at us carefully. I would encourage you to go to my website, jeffburgash.com. Because we can't go door to door this campaign because of COVID-19, we're limited in how we can reach the voters. That's why this opportunity is so important. And that's why if you go to jeffburgash.com, I've put it all out there for you because it's vitally important that we hire the best county commissioner. I believe my resume stacks up very well against my opponents. And that's why, again, I would encourage you to go to jeffburgash.com. You'll see my resume, every place I've ever worked, every business I've ever owned. You'll see my academic transcripts. And the grades that I've earned, and you'll see all the things that I've proposed. Over the last 4 years, I've had 50 open meetings, public meetings. I listen to people, I listen to citizens, and I've taken the input that I've got and the things that I've learned in doing this job, and I've put together a very specific plan. I've called it Next for Escambia, and it covers the areas of public safety, infrastructure, the economy, jobs, which are so vitally important. And I would encourage you to read that plan, because if I'm elected, I will put that into place. It's called Next for Escambia. It's at jeffburgash.com. And remember, August 18th, go out and vote, and I would encourage you to vote for Jeff Burgash. Thank you.
That was Mr. Jeff Burgash. Now we'll hear from Mr. Jesse Casey.
As your county commissioner, I will bring over 40 years of growth management and development experience to the board. I will ensure that there is clear communication between all of the government agencies and stakeholders involved, including the voters whose lives are being impacted by all the growth in their neighborhood, no matter what project may be. As a general contractor, I think I'm the only one in this race who fully understands the development from the beginning to the end. That's why I feel like that I am perfect fit for this job. I will work hard with the board and the community leaders to create an environment that will bring jobs and commerce to the community. We need real industrial to come here. No excuses as to why they can't come here. I will fast track a plan to enhance our workforce environment for those who live here in Escambia and those who would like to come here to work and live.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
For the better part of my adult life, I've been involved helping individuals in my community as well as all over Escambia County. My heart is for the people, and I feel if I can win this election, I can accomplish more than helping a handful. I am very concerned with the safety of all of our citizens, and I'm concerned about law enforcement, firefighters, EMS, infrastructure, our traffic, roads, drainage, red lights, sidewalks, proper lighting for our children and adults. I never want to be a politician. I want to be a statesman. A statesman looks for the next generation. A politician looks for the next election. I want to be a full-time, accessible, accountable, and a hard-working county commissioner focusing on all the challenges for District 1 and continue the charity work that I've been doing for the better part of my adult years. I am not part of the establishment. We have a lot of work to do, way past due. Folks, please, I need your vote on August the 18th. Thank you.
That was Mr. Jesse Casey. Now, Mr. Jonathan Owens responds to the same questions.
Most recently, we have implemented the Perdido Key Master Plan in conjunction with the Habitat Conservation Plan on Perdido Key. That protects the wildlife as well as the way of life out on the barrier island. I would like to see a similar plan put in place in Beulah with the Beulah Master Plan as well as a master plan for outlying Field 8. We have in the past had a sector plan that recently some citizens have opted out as well as business owners have opted out. If we cannot keep our plans in place, they will further deteriorate whatever our future growth plans will be. As a local boy raised here in Escambia County, I grew up in District 1 and attended public schools here. My oldest daughter attended public school here, and now my two younger daughters will also attend public school here. I feel the biggest impediment to our social and economic challenges here is a proper education and the ability to attract good employers here. A strong, educated workforce will help our local residents here grow and expand in Escambia County.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
My name is Jonathan Owens, and I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for having me here today. I'm the son of a Navy chief, born at the Navy Hospital on Pensacola NAS. As the youngest of three children, I am a lifelong resident here in District 1. I married my lovely wife Annabella in December of 2014, and together we have 4 beautiful daughters. I want to represent you as your county commissioner for District 1. The citizens of the west side of Escambia County feel as if they have been a lower priority in comparison to other parts of the county. I am running for office because the Board of County Commission needs to get back to the basics. We are losing public safety employees to other municipalities within our state. Our budget is spread too thin to offer competitive wages to our most critical staff. Once elected, I will focus on bringing our budget back in line with funding public safety and infrastructure. Instead of arguing over the naming of a bridge, and we should be focused on supporting our administrator and our staff. We need to get politics out of the way and focus on doing the hard work. Leave the drama and the egos at home. This job takes a full-time commitment. I have been fortunate to serve as a legislative aide for the citizens of Escambia County for full-time since 2014. I eagerly look forward to serving our community as your county commissioner for District 1. I'm Jonathan Owens. I would like your vote on August 18th, 2020 for County Commission District 1.
And that was Mr. Jonathan Owens. We'll now hear from Mr. Jimmie Trotter.
We are growing, and we value our wildlife and, of course, these beautiful sandy white beaches that we have in this area. And our WQLM, our Water Quality and Land Management Division, they're working hard to make sure that we keep that quality of life and the natural resources intact. And I'd like to see us use some of the resources that we have in our restore monies to fund some more of that type of quality control, is what I like to call it. And we can do that. Infrastructure is a nasty word right now for us here in District 1, but we've got to deal with our Department of Transportation. We've got to get more monies, funding. We will need to implement some impact fees. I know that may be bad, but impact fees will be necessary. A couple of our social and economic inequalities. I like to deal with what's going on in law enforcement and also in our fire department. They're terribly underpaid, underfunded, and we need to bring that up to standards. Our guys get trained here, and then they would like to live and work here also. But if they don't get the pay, they're going to go to other areas, and we're going to lose them. So we like to incrementally increase their ways to get them up to standards. Now, there is an inequality socially in our area, and it's relative and it's right now, and that is that minorities feel like they're not getting their fair share, and I think we're gonna have to work with that, and we're gonna have to see more political seats with minorities in them.
And that concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement. Okay,
guys, I'm not a professional politician. We're not looking for that in this county. Nationally, we're not looking for that. But what I am is I'm an advocate for reconciliation. As I've been walking around, there's a big divide between, or a chasm between the administration and the voters and what the voters want and need. And I like to feel like I can monitor your pulse and really give you what you want and need. I like to build a cooperative relationship with you so that we can work on things that are of importance to you in this area in our district in Escambia County. Now, I'm very big on having residential advisory committees. That means I would like to have committees that we put together from residents or in the areas that we're going to be doing a lot of our infrastructure work in. And that's important because I know we're going to have our engineers do their studies and our surveys and all that, but I want you. I want you to come into the picture, and I want you to sit in with in the code enforcement meetings and in the planning meeting and give us some advice as to what you know about the locations where we're looking to build and make infrastructure changes. Again, we will need to make some changes here with our political arena. Minorities are not getting represented properly. We're going to look at potentially having some biracial seating in our county and our city seats, bi-party. We had a bi-party committee in the Reconstruction era. So I like to think about that and like to mention that to our commission and see that happen. So you're going to have to make a choice come August 18th. And you need to choose someone who's going to have your interests at heart, your agenda at heart. And I'm Jimmie Trotter, and I'm the right choice.
And that was Mr. Jimmie Trotter. And those are the 4 candidates for Escambia County Commission District 1. Next up, the race for Florida House District 1. There are 4 candidates in this race. In alphabetical order, they are Mr. Mike Hill, Republican from Pensacola, Ms. Franscine C. Mathis, Democrat from Pensacola, Ms. Barbara Scott Schaus, Democrat of Mary Esther, and Ms. Michelle Salzman, Republican of Pensacola. Ms. Barbara Scott Schaus is not attending rally. The three other candidates will answer the following two questions provided by the League of Women Voters and then make their final statement. The first question is this. The Florida economy has been hit hard by the pandemic. What budget cuts or realignments are you supporting, and what are your priority budget items? The next question is, over the past several years, the state legislature has been preempting local municipalities from governing their own communities and constituents with the passage of various state bills. Voters agree that city and county officials should be able to pass local laws to protect public health, the environment, and economy. What is your view on the role of state government on local government operations? We begin with Mr. Mike Hill.
Well, we passed the budget originally before the COVID panic hit. But because of having a conservative legislative body, our budget was sound. We were able to continue without having to go into a special session with our budget to make any more adjustments. I support some of the cuts that Governor DeSantis did. I thought they were prudent. I thought they were necessary. But because we had a conservative Republican legislative body, we did not have to make a lot of severe adjustments. The part of the budget that I really support is that we were able to fund our teachers at a pace where they are some of the highest paid teachers in the nation. I believe that local government is the best government. There are times when local government will infringe upon our constitutional rights, they'll infringe upon our liberties, and they are not obeying the rule of law. And when that happens, then the state is going to have to step in. For example, we have certain cities that declared themselves sanctuary cities, to where they would not hand over to ICE illegal aliens who have committed crimes. We had to step in to protect that. The state needs to step in to protect our historical monuments. The state needs to step in to make sure that our liberties, such as owning certain weapons or having the ability to purchase plastic bags and so forth.
That concludes the questions. Now time for the closing statement.
I'm conservative State Representative Mike Hill. In 2018, you sent me to Tallahassee to stand up for our conservative values, to protect the lives of the preborn, to defend our Second Amendment rights, to protect our historical monuments, and to support President Trump's America First agenda. That is exactly what I did when I went to Tallahassee. I filed legislation to protect the preborn, the heartbeat bill. I filed legislation to repeal the unconstitutional red flag laws. I filed legislation to protect our historical monuments, such as the Bayview Cross and our Confederate Memorial. And I wrote legislation to divest the state of Florida from communist China, supporting President Trump's America First agenda. Promises made, promises kept. I said a solemn oath when I was elected to office to support, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States and its government and of the Florida Constitution. I took that oath solemnly, and I meant it when I said it. That is why whenever I look at providing good public policy for you, the people of Florida, first of all, it has to make the criteria of, is it constitutional? Secondly, is it fiscally responsible? Third, will it fix a problem? And finally, is it morally sound? I believe as long as I adhere to those tenets, then I will be doing my job of providing you with good public policy. And that's all that you ask for coming from me, your state representative. I ask that you vote for me, Mike Hill, on August 18th to go back to Tallahassee to continue to support, protect, and defend our constitutional values. Not to join the swamp, but to drain the swamp. Thank you.
And that was Mr. Mike Hill. Our next candidate is Miss Franscine C. Mathis.
I do feel like that I know a lot of people have talked about defunding the police department and cutting some of their budget to be able to give out to other parts of our district, so we will be able to have more community centers, more educational opportunities. I do agree with defunding the police, not cutting all of their funds, because that's not what we're doing. We're just defunding. We're just taking maybe 20 or 30% of what they receive and giving that to, like I say, community centers, more educational opportunities in our schools. With local operations, I feel like the state should get involved. As you know, we have a very big environmental problem going on in the Wedgwood community, as well as Longleaf and Southleaf Hill. I do feel like state needs to get involved and start making some bills to try to help out with that problem that we're having with the landfills. We have a lot of environmental issues as far as air pollution. The water is extremely toxic. We need some state laws to get our ECUA people to put lining over our water lines, because with the environmental problem that we're having, the chemicals are going right into the water, and we are drinking toxic water.
That concludes the questions. Now time for the closing statement.
My name is Franscine Mathis. I'm a candidate for State House Representative for District 1. My main platforms will be environmental issues, public safety, clean water, as well as educational opportunities and developmental growth and economical growth in my district. We are suffering a pandemic at this time, as you know, and I am encouraging everyone to wear your mask when you go out in public, to also take care of yourself and take care of others, and to also be aware of our educational opportunities that we have for the children if you do not feel safe with bringing them back into the classroom. We have also some environmental issues that I have worked on for several years in the Wedgwood, Southleaf Hill area. The waters are extremely toxic. They're killing people in District 1. We definitely need to get some bills so we can get legislation on this matter of closing these landfills, and not only closing the landfills, but also making them clean up what they leave behind, because that is the material that is actually seeping into the grounds, seeping into our waters, because we do not have covers over our water lines in that particular area to be able to stop all the debris and chemicals that are getting into our water lines. So I encourage people to please vote on August 18, 2020 for the primary. I encourage people to get out and register to vote, because when you vote, your vote is your voice, and we need your voice to be heard in 2020. We have several different things that and issues and concerns that people are concerned about in District 1. And I would like to tell you that I have been an advocate in that community for several years, and I would still love to go to Tallahassee and lobby and fight for you as your State House Representative for District 1. So vote for Franscine Mathis, August 18th, 2020, and November 2nd of 2020 for your next State House Representative.
That was Ms. Franscine C. Mathis. Ms. Michelle Salzman is our next candidate.
The budget of Florida relies in a large part from sales tax derived from purchases made in our state from both residents and out-of-state people. First, we can put internet retail on an equal footing with local small businesses and collect sales tax on purchases made over the internet. Second, we should re-sign a compact with the Seminole Indian tribe regarding gaming. These two items could help close the gap and generate $1.5 billion a year in revenue. Priority budget items is a sticky question. Most vulnerable seniors, transportation, developmental disabilities. It's a tough pick. But education is the future of Florida, more than others, from the perspective, and let's not forget it. You need someone in Tallahassee who can get that done. Well, I'm an old school Republican. I believe in local control of most issues. But lately we have seen local government occasionally overstep their guidelines. We have to understand that we have 67 counties and over 400 municipalities, and it does become difficult for business owners to keep track of rules and regulations imposed in each community. For example, locally we see levels of various awareness for the wearing of masks for public safety, differing from county versus city, etc. Imagine having to keep track of that for plastic straws, styrofoam, grocery bags, and a whole host of other consumer items. So at times it is easier to regulate a state at the state level for uniformity, but we must ensure that we seek maximize local input on decision making, and this is why you need an effective voice in Tallahassee.
That concludes the questions. Now time for the closing statement.
My name is Michelle Salzman. I'm a community leader, an Army veteran, a small business owner, a mother and a wife, a cycle breaker, a difference maker, a Christian, and most importantly, an effective conservative. I believe in small government with localized control, and I'm running for office because our community must get back to the basics: infrastructure, safety, education. For the past decade, I have worked alongside the other community leaders to help Northwest Florida become a greater place to live, work, and play. My platform is simple. I have proven to be a very effective leader of our community and have a great working relationship with many of our local leaders, as well as the elected officials. As a lifelong resident of District 1, I know firsthand many of the issues we have been facing for a long time, and I'm confident that I can represent our communities of Northwest Florida in a way that will get results. My friends all across the district have many concerns that aren't being addressed. Just in the past 2 years alone, Escambia County has sent over $468 million in tax revenues to Tallahassee, and our current representative has brought back $0. He didn't even ask for any of it back this past session. As your representative, I will fight for every penny. I will be effective. I will not come home empty-handed. I hope to meet you and hear what matters most to you for our community. I am endorsed by the Police Association as well as the firefighters. I'm pro-life, and I am the only candidate in District 1 with an A rating from the NRA, and I need your vote. Please check out my website at votesalzman.com. Follow me on Facebook or give me a call. My cell phone number is 850-207-5024. And remember, vote for Michelle Salzman, Republican, Florida House District 1.
That was Ms. Michelle Salzman, and those are your candidates for Florida House of Representatives District 1. Coming up later on Rally, the race for U.S. Congress. But first, we'll meet the candidates running for Florida House of Representatives District 2 and Escambia County Commission seats 3 and 5 right after this break.
There is nothing more important to our democratic process than having an informed electorate voting on Election Day. Good evening, I am Ed Meadows, President of Pensacola State College, thanking you for tuning into this rally, a joint presentation of the League of Women Voters, WSRE-TV, and Pensacola State College. Rally allows you the opportunity to watch and listen as this election year's slate of candidates answer the tough questions concerning the needs of our community. WSRE, a service of Pensacola State College, is proud to bring this program to you as a public service. And as always, we invite your comments and suggestions about how we can further fulfill our community obligations. Let's all remember the importance of participating in the governance process by voting in the upcoming election.
Thank you for joining us on Rally, a candidate forum provided by WSRE as a public service to help voters get to know the candidates. Tonight, each candidate is answering questions provided by the League of Women Voters. And just a reminder that due to COVID-19, this Rally program is not the usual live forum we've had in years past. The candidates pre-recorded their responses individually, among other precautions against the coronavirus, and therefore did not have the opportunity to make any rebuttals. We turn now to the race for Escambia County Commission District 3. There are two candidates in this race. Both are Democrats. This is a closed primary because there is a qualified write-in candidate. The first candidate is Mr. Lumon May, the incumbent in this race. The second candidate is Reverend Lou Timothy May, Sr. They both responded to the following questions and gave a final statement. Here are their questions. As Escambia County continues facing future growth, how can the Commission ensure that planned development will protect natural resources and update infrastructure? The second question is, if elected, what actions would you take to address the social and economic inequalities in your district? Please provide examples. We begin with Mr. Lumon May.
Well, first, let me thank you for having me here today in the League of Women Voters. I'm certainly excited about being here. But I certainly believe that you can improve, you can have growth while maintaining a stable community. You can improve the economy. You can improve the health of your citizens by just simply implementing principles and plan principles and making sure that you put in sustainability programs. I'm working now with the administrator in our Natural Resources Department to provide a planned Department of Sustainability. I'm very proud of the record that we've had in trying to have smart growth. The restore dollars that came into District 3, the dollars that went into District 3 went to centralize stormwater in the Hollis T. Williams Park. Thank you. Unfortunately, we do recognize that inequalities do exist, but what we've done is we've set up programs to incentivize local and small businesses. One of the first things we did was give a local preference to local and small businesses. We implemented the covenant with community and making sure that people that do business with the county will provide not only opportunities for local labor, but they will keep up with that data and report that data. We've implemented an intern program to make sure that we grow our own and we keep young people home. We have over 500 youth through the last 4 or 5 years that have worked in our summer youth program and giving them an opportunity to learn about government, at the same time learn how to work within community and to get a paycheck. And so we are implementing programs thank you.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
Again, thank you, WSRE Rally 2020 and the League of Women Voters for giving me this opportunity to speak to the citizens of Escambia County. We're very proud of our record, whether it's the creation of an intern program that's highly utilized in Escambia County, whether it's our summer employment program where hundreds of young people get the opportunity to work in not only the county, but the city and our other constitutional offices, learning about county government and civic engagement, and at the same time getting a valuable work experience and to be paid for. That was something that we initiated upon being elected. We're very proud of our community redevelopment agency area that we've done, in which we've taken workers from the CRA areas to give them the opportunity to learn the landscaping opportunities, and many of them have now become entrepreneurs and now own their own business and now are vendors of Escambia County. We're proud of our sustainability program in alternative energy, and where we're looking at the Superfund site, the third largest relocation in the United States of America. Well, our anchor tenant will be someone who will convert waste to energy to make sure that we continue to have clean energy, and at the same time bringing on solar panels on this property that was not being used for anything. We're very proud of our economic initiatives with our local and small businesses, and that we incentivize local businesses by doing a local preference. I led the charge with Covenant for Community to make sure that companies that came in utilized local labor. Not only did they put that in their proposal, but we require them to provide that data where that local labor was utilized in their public projects. I'm very proud of all the things that we have done in terms of community relations. We do understand understand that the climate of the country sometime can be in turmoil. But this community, because of the work that we continue to do with our outside agencies, with our partners, whether it's Council on Aging, whether it's Florida West, whether it's Pensacola Chamber, we're very proud of that work. And again, I ask you to join me in voting for Lumon May, the incumbent Democrat, County Commissioner District 3, a known commodity in Escambia County.
That was the incumbent for Escambia County Commission District 3, Mr. Lumon May. The next candidate is Reverend Lou Timothy May Sr.
Our natural resources should always be a priority for us to protect. And so one of the ways that we protect our natural resources is to do an assessment. And we look at those things that are in our environment that are already working. For instance, we go to the University of West Florida and we know that there's natural preservations out there. We bring in environmentalists and we bring the experts and we sit down at a table and we make sure that we come up with a comprehensive plan to make sure that we protect our environment, because our environment, the decisions that we make today, there are ramifications for the generations to come. So it's very important that we come up with a comprehensive plan to protect our natural resources. When looking at social inequalities and economic inequalities, it's important that we do an assessment, a proper assessment. When I worked for the mayor's office at the city of Pensacola, I was a part of a disparity study, and out of that disparity study, we came back with recommendations for procurement and contract. We came back with recommendations to help lessen those gaps of disparities, and I look to do those things as well with the county if I'm elected. And so again, we have to address seriously these disparities. That was a $250,000 disparity study, and pull the experts down to make sure that we close that gap of the disparities that are existing in Escambia County.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
My name is Reverend Lou Timothy May, and I'm running for District 3 County Commissioner to vote on this August 18th. And I am the candidate of your choice. I am the candidate of your voice. In this election season, it's very important that you do your information gathering, that you do your fact finding and research. Look at the things that I've done. Look at my contributions, look at my credibility, look at my website and see the things that I've done here in Escambia County. And I believe if you choose me as your next candidate for County Commissioner District 3, you will be selecting the voice and the choice for the people. I am excited, I'm energized and ecstatic to be a candidate for District 3 County Commissioner here in our county. And so again, my website, www.latimothymaydist3.com. Come and visit us and see the things that we've done. It's time for us to be about the change that we talk about. In District 3, I look forward to being your next county commissioner. Thank you.
That was Reverend Lou Timothy May Sr., and those are the candidates for Escambia County Commission District 3. Tonight, we've heard from candidates for Escambia County Commission Districts 1 and 3, as well as Florida House of Representatives District 1. It's time now to meet the candidates for Florida House District 2, which covers parts of Escambia and Santa Rosa counties. There are two candidates in this contest. Both are Republican. In alphabetical order, they are Mr. Alex Andrade of Pensacola and Mr. Chris Joseph, also of Pensacola. The questions provided to them by the League of Women Voters are: the Florida economy has been hit hard by the pandemic. What budget cuts or realignments are you supporting, and what are your priority budget items? The next question is: over the past several years, the state legislature has been preempting local municipalities from governing their own communities and constituents with the passage of various state bills. Voters agree that city and county officials should be able to pass local laws to protect public health, the environment, and economy. What is your view on the role of state government on local government operations? We begin with Mr. Andrade.
Florida lives within its means. We built up over $4 billion in reserves, and we must continue to fight for equitable treatment from the federal government. But we know from our success prior to COVID-19 that Florida's success doesn't depend on its government. It depends on its citizens. As we've done in my first 2 years, we've continued to fight to drive down barriers to entry for innovation and small businesses. For Florida's economy and budget to recover, our small businesses need opportunities to grow again. It's that conservative, humble approach that's allowed me to focus on record levels of funding for infrastructure and water quality here at home, and I continue to look forward to working on that in my second term. The only time preemption is justified is when a local government threatens the constitutional rights of a Florida citizen. While we have not had too much new preemption in my first 2 years in office, for the roles that the state has already taken jurisdiction over, it's our responsibility to make sure that we're administering those roles in an intelligent balance between public safety and citizens' private rights. We're a diverse state, and we're split philosophically. But when a local government in Central Florida jeopardizes the constitutional rights of a citizen there, it poses a direct threat to citizens in Northwest Florida. I took my oath to the Constitution very seriously, and I will not sit idly by if a local government, wherever citizens reside, is threatening Floridians' constitutional rights.
And that concludes the questions. Now time for the closing statement.
Hello. For those of you at home who don't know me, my name is Alex Andrade, and I've had the honor of representing you in the Florida legislature since 2018. Since I was first elected, we faced Hurricane Michael, the attack at NAS Pensacola, COVID-19, tornadoes, wildfires, and this current gut check in our country about what it truly means to be an American. I've been blessed to sit down with families and leaders after they've lost everything in Gulf and Bay County, witnessed the scene in the moments after 3 young Americans paid the ultimate sacrifice for their friends and their country, and comforted and assisted hundreds of constituents as they face losing their jobs and their life's work. We're facing a difficult time here in Northwest Florida, but what I've witnessed in my time serving you is this: our strength is in our people. Northwest Florida is home to thousands of men and women who love God, love their family, and love this country. And I challenge anyone to show me a people who've exhibited more grit and more grace in the midst of such adversity. I've worked my tail off for you these past 2 years, for military families, for our children, for our teachers, our small business owners, and for our environment. And I pray that on August 18th, you'll send me back to continue the work that is necessary to help us through these difficult times. If you need anything, please don't hesitate to call me personally. My phone number is on my website, voteandrade.com. God bless you, and God bless Northwest Florida.
That was Mr. Alex Andrade. Let's hear now from Mr. Chris Dosif.
I support the immediate start of all state transportation and infrastructure projects. All efforts must be made to get people back to work and small businesses operating. We must ensure that all K-12 education be provided full state support, both public and private, so that those youngsters be the least impacted by the current COVID pandemic. Higher education resources can be reallocated to support K-12. Medical testing must be made available immediately. Locally, all Triumph Gulf Coast projects need to be suspended and funds redistributed to the 8 affected counties for infrastructure and county priority projects. We must address real needs of the people of the Panhandle. We should not be providing at this time foreign aid to countries like Singapore. The current board members should be dismissed and property stored Triumph funds to be replaced. As a conservative, I believe the best government is the government closest to the people. It impacts on a daily basis. This past legislative session, the state representative of Hernando County prevented the people of Escambia and Santa Rosa counties to name the new bridge over Pensacola Bay for hometown hero General Daniel Chappie James? Why does it matter to Hernando County citizens what the folks of Escambia and Santa Rosa counties want to do in their community, especially in naming a bridge 400 miles away? Because politics trumps people in Tallahassee, and that's just plain wrong. I believe in home rule, and I promise to advocate for small businesses, not attorneys and special interests. Another example, vacation rental rules should be locally determined. It's time to defend local government from big government Tallahassee control.
That concludes the questions. Now time for the closing statement.
Good evening. I'm Chris Dosev, and I am unapologetically pro-life and believe that all children conceived have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I was proud to stand with President Trump this past January at the March for Life. He is the most pro-life president we have ever had, and I stand with him in the protection of the preborn. I recognize that our Constitution and country are under attack, and we must be prepared to defend both if we expect to pass along to our children our nation's great legacy. We must defend our Constitution and the Bill of Rights from unscrupulous politicians and never allow our Second Amendment God-given right to keep and bear arms to be infringed. I'm a proud lifetime member of the NRA. I'm a small businessman and know that every effort must be made to get people back to work during this time of COVID. Our country and economy cannot afford a prolonged shutdown without grave consequences. We must get back to work immediately, taking into account proper precautions to avoid further spread of the virus. And now more than ever, we must return to law and order. Defending law enforcement is a direct attack. Defunding law enforcement is a direct attack on the people of our country by making the most vulnerable that much more vulnerable. I stand with the blue. I stand with working people and families that rely on safe and secure neighborhoods so that they can make a living and feed and house their families. The working poor have the greatest at stake when lawlessness is allowed and crime runs rampant throughout their communities. This places an undue burden on all of society. I am Chris Dosev and will bring these priorities to Tallahassee. I am not an attorney servicing special interests and other attorneys. I will put the people above special interests and not betray our veterans, American workers, and small business operators. That is my promise to you. I humbly ask for your vote on August 18th.
That was Mr. Chris Dosev, and those are your candidates for Florida House District 2. Next, the race for Escambia County Commission District 5. And still ahead tonight, the candidates for U.S. Congress District 1. We will return right after this break.
Welcome to this year's rally, presented by WSRE-TV. I'm Jane Spruill, president of the Pensacola Bay Area League of Women Voters. For over 30 years, our local leagues have provided the candidate questions for events like this forum. The league supports democracy, which is designed for active participation in government. Being an informed voter is an important way to support democracy. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization, which means we do not support nor oppose parties or candidates. This year, more than 700 league chapters across the country celebrate the 100th anniversary of the passage of the 19th Amendment, which gives women the right to vote. At the same time, the League of Women Voters was organized. The League has continued to work these 100 years to understand policy issues and to encourage active and informed citizens to participate in government by voting. This rally is one way to make accurate and nonpartisan information available to voters. We also provide a guide to understanding the amendments and other ballot issues. We invite women and men to our public events or to join the local league as a member. Please refer to the contact information listed here on your screen to learn more. The Pensacola Bay Area League of Women Voters appreciates your efforts to be an informed voter.
Welcome back to Rally 2020. Still ahead tonight, the candidates for U.S. Congress District 1. But right now, we focus on the race for Escambia County Commission District 5. There are 3 candidates in this race, and all are Republican. This is a universal primary and is open to Republican, Democratic, and no party affiliation voters. The winner of this contest will become the District 5 County Commissioner. Here are the candidates in alphabetical order: Mr. Stephen Berry, Mr. John Redding, and Miss Megan Walters. They were asked to answer the following questions. As Escambia County continues facing future growth, how can the Commission ensure that planned development will protect natural resources and update infrastructure? The second question is, if elected, what actions would you take to address the social and economic inequalities in your district? Please provide examples. We begin with Mr. Stephen Berry.
It's particularly important for a community to have a long-range comprehensive plan that's going to allow for ample land for residential, commercial, as well as recreational development, and set aside permanent, meaningful green spaces. The plan should also protect the environmentally sensitive lands while balancing those environmental concerns with the reasonable needs for the future growth in the community. And as the Local Option Sales Tax Fund is our primary source of funding for updating and constructing infrastructure, wisely managing that cash flow as well as the fund balance is going to be paramount to ensuring that the resources are there for the future infrastructure needs. So the first step to addressing the issue is to acknowledge that social and economic inequalities do exist. There are several ways to try to better the situation, but one primary tool that municipal governments have is the establishment of community redevelopment areas, or CRAs. The majority of the increased property tax revenue that comes from higher taxable values within the CRA must be reinvested directly back into that area to continue to improve the area. In 2014, we established the Cantonment CRA, which has been a tremendous success, primarily due to the partnering between Escambia County and an extremely active community organization, the Cantonment Improvement Committee, and trying to mirror that success in other areas would be what I would continue to do.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
Hello, my name is Stephen Berry, candidate for Escambia County Commissioner, District 5. I have served as your county commissioner since 2012, and I'm excited to ask for your support and for your vote again on August 18th. I'm happily married to my beautiful wife, Ellen, and we have a daughter, Sloan, who is 4, and a son, Jack, who will be 1 in August. I'm a proud product of our public schools in the district, having attended MacArthur Elementary, Ransom Middle, and Tate High Schools. I played baseball at Tate and at the University of West Florida, where I graduated with a degree in financial accounting. While finishing school, I also worked at our family's restaurant, Smokey's Barbecue, which has been a fixture on Highway 29 in Car City for over 40 years. After college, I went into the financial services industry, becoming a certified financial planner and currently operating my own small business for over 20 years. In less than 8 years, we have successfully completed over $100 million of projects in the district, including paving 37 dirt roads, resurfacing 83 roads, repairing or replacing 57 bridges, 13 combined road widening and drainage projects, 22 drainage projects, and dozens of emergency repairs. While completing these projects, we've also been able to add $20 million to the general fund balance and $45 million to the local option sales tax fund balance. I believe disciplined attendance is a key part of a strong work ethic, and I've only missed 1 meeting out of over 300 since being elected, which happened to be on the day our daughter was born in 2015. In addition to the special meetings I've convened as needed, I've conducted town hall meetings in the district at least quarterly since being elected, until missing the second quarter this year with the COVID crisis. Also, I always hope to embody the attitude of our community, being pleasant, polite, and interacting in a respectful way with constituents, regardless of the circumstances. It's truly been an honor to serve my friends and neighbors and to represent the community that I love. Real results, prudent financial management, disciplined attendance, and active representation. Again, I humbly ask for your support and for your vote for Stephen Berry, County Commissioner, District 5 on August 18th.
That was Mr. Stephen Berry for Escambia County Commissioner, District 5. Now we'll hear from Mr. John Redding.
We created a land development code in the early 90s that controls most of the things that you might associate with road building, bridge repairs, and maintenance of roadways in and out of the more congested areas of the county. Those will continue to serve us well if we follow the land development code and balance the competing interests of commercial and private developers.
economic opportunities through development of our industrial parks, which now look approximately like ghost towns and sometimes unintended or unattended places of the county for out-of-town developers to come view, are not very attractive. We need to make those things look better all the time and refocus our efforts to draw new jobs to the county.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
In this particular year, July of 2020, I think it's very important to at least briefly mention some irregularities that have gone on around the country with Sheriff's Department budgeting. I will not support or endorse any plans that cause a frivolous or a fawning type of budget cut to the Sheriff's Department. This is time for the budget for the Sheriff to be increased for protection and training purposes of all the deputies that interact with the police. Second, I think, is some provision for increasing the amount of low-income housing that's available to the county. I'm sure there are a lot of federal funds that we may pursue if we're not currently following those now. Third is the development and following of our land development code put in place a long time ago. It seems like we should have all the answers already calculated into the LDC, but that's not correct. We always have competing interest for private developers and commercial developers. Those must continually be realigned by listening to the public.
That was Mr. John Redding. Our next candidate is Miss Megan Walters.
I believe that the Board of County Commissioners can add back in the provisions for traffic concurrency that it removed previously once the state no longer required it. I also believe that having school concurrency and the road concurrency will help with the planning. If elected, I'd like to restore professional planning practices to manage growth appropriately to curb inappropriate runoff into our streams and waterways, and I would lobby Tallahassee to help convert areas with failing septic systems. I would like to alleviate flooding by constructing and maintaining adequate stormwater facilities. District 5 is very geographically large, but also economically diverse. We have very expensive homes in some areas like Milestone and other areas where we have modest and low-income homes such as Century and the Quintet area. Sometimes the resources for things to go to the neighborhoods and communities that can best advocate for themselves, but that shouldn't really be. District 5 has not enough meeting places for the community to gather or even to have town hall meetings. Cantonment has a designated community redevelopment area, and while some work has been done there, not enough has been done to promote that area and improve it out of the situation that qualified as a blighted area. Basically, if I'm elected, I will be working for the citizens.
That concludes the questions. Now it's time for the closing statement.
My name is Megan Walters, and I'm running for County Commissioner for District 5. My campaign slogan is working for us, because that's who I am. I am working for the citizens. I'm not a politician. I'm an average citizen just like you and me, and I want to be the voice for those that don't have a voice. Please vote for me at the primary on August 18th, and I can assure you that when in office, I will be working for you.
And that was Miss Megan Walters, and those are the candidates for Escambia County Commission District 5. We're taking a short break. When we return, our final race of the night, U.S. Congress District 1. Stay with us.
There are 3 ways to cast a ballot in Escambia County: by mail, early voting, or at your precinct on Election Day. To vote by mail, contact the Escambia County Supervisor of Elections office. You can write, phone, fax, email, log on to their website, or ask in person at the supervisor's office on Palafox Place in downtown Pensacola. Ballots must reach the Supervisor of Elections office by 7 p.m. on Election Day. Early voting dates and times in Escambia County are listed there on your screen. Early voting stations are located in the northern, southern, eastern, and western regions of the county, and the locations are also listed on your screen. On the day of the primary election, which is Tuesday, August 18th, voting takes place at your polling location from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. You must vote in the precinct in which you live and are registered. To verify your precinct, log on to escambiavotes.com. Be sure to bring photo and signature ID with you.
Welcome back, and thank you again for joining us tonight for WSRE's Rally 2020 as we count down to primary election day coming up August 18th. Tonight and tomorrow, you have the opportunity to hear from candidates in races in Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa counties. Finally tonight, we turn to the race for U.S. Congress District 1. This congressional district includes Escambia, Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, and Walton counties, as well as a portion of Holmes County. There are 3 congressional candidates on the primary ballot. All are Republican. In alphabetical order, the congressional candidates are Mr. Matt Gaetz of Fort Walton Beach, Mr. Greg Merck of Pensacola, and Mr. John Mills of Miramar Beach. Mr. Gaetz is not attending tonight's rally. The other candidates will be answering questions compiled by the League of Women Voters. The first question is, the moratorium for offshore drilling in the eastern planning area of the Gulf of Mexico expires in 2020. If elected, what action or actions would you take to ensure that the moratorium remains in place? The second question is, what is your proposal to ensure that every citizen has an equal opportunity to vote? Be specific. We begin with Mr. Greg Merck.
Well, the House already passed H.R. 205, which makes that permanent, and I support that measure for 2 reasons. Number one, our beaches are among the crown jewels of Northwest Florida and a major source of revenue, and that can't be threatened by another environmental disaster. And secondly, it is a national security issue. The airspace off the coast is used for military operations. I've flown numerous missions there myself, and we can't afford to lose control of that airspace. But to be clear, America's energy independence is also a national security issue, which is why it is imperative that Congress support and protect our oil and natural gas industries. That means drilling and fracking. America should never be held hostage by oil-rich countries that hate us. Well, first, I reject the premise of the question because the truth is every voting age American already has an equal opportunity to vote, and to suggest otherwise is simply disingenuous. Now, voter fraud is the real threat, and with the widespread mail-in ballot initiatives, we're asking for massive voter fraud. But I want to say something in the midst of all the anti-American sentiment out there today. We're the greatest nation ever and the freest. No nation has ever exported more hope, more freedom, more fiscal treasure, more of its most sacred treasure, the blood of its service members, so that others can get a taste of what too many here take for granted. The world is a better place because America is in it. And the free world envies us and wants to be like us, and that includes our election process.
That concludes the questions. Now time for the closing statement.
I served over 21 years active duty, half as a Navy pilot and half as an Air Force pilot. I've often said America needs more leaders, not more lawyers, and no candidate is more tailor-made to lead us in Washington. And with a finance background, I know the best government is smaller government, fiscally responsible government, not one that picks winners or losers, but one that lets the free markets decide. I support a flat tax, cutting regulations, and if we don't cut spending, we're going to bankrupt America. We need to get rid of Obamacare, secure the border, protect our military, and give parents the right to decide how to educate their children, not Washington. I believe life begins at conception, and the lives of the unborn must be protected. And in these trying times, it's imperative we protect the Second Amendment, America's last line of defense against tyranny. And when it comes to issues like climate change, I, like the president, believe it's fake science, not about saving the planet. It's a Trojan horse designed to destroy free markets. But Matt Gaetz disagrees and stands shoulder to shoulder with AOC and the radical left on climate change. I'll stand toe-to-toe against them. And on the radical LGBTQ agenda, I, like the president, agree that it's an attack on our religious liberty and values. They're not about peaceful coexistence, but forced compliance. Again, Matt Gaetz disagrees. And while he was calling for transgenders to be in the military, President Trump rightly signed an executive order against it. Gaetz voted with the Democrats on the War Powers Resolution, a direct attack on the president designed to undermine his authority and question his judgment as Commander-in-Chief. And in the midst of the opioid crisis, he wants to compound America's drug problems by legalizing marijuana. He has no problem sacrificing our children. Also, he, his father, and their lawyer friends can make money. As a father, I have two main responsibilities: to teach my son to love God and to teach him to love his country. As a Christian saved by grace, I've given him a God to love. Now I want to give him a country to love. Truth is, our district has grown weary of the corruption. DUIs, dead roommates, witness intimidation, unethical rent deals, and the latest bogus adoption. It's time to close the gates and end the corruption. It's time to put Merck to work for you. You can go to votemerck.com to learn more. Thank you.
That was Mr. Greg Merck. The next candidate is Mr. John Mills.
Yes, the Gulf of Mexico Energy Security Act of 2006 designates a moratorium in the eastern Gulf of Mexico, the area designated by the military mission line, which extends from approximately the Eglin Air Force Base south to the Keys. This area is identified by the Department of Defense as being a critical airspace for testing and training activities. In the space, development in the space would be incompatible with military activities, such as missile flights, low-flying drone aircraft, weapons, testing, and training. On September 11, 2019, the House passed H.R. 205, which would make the moratorium permanent. So beyond that, we need to push this legislation through the Senate. Thank you. With COVID-19 concerns and to ensure every citizen has equal opportunity to vote, we need to work with each supervisor of elections with each county and determine what their needs are. So increasing vote by mail is available, so requests should be made early by the constituents. Expand early voting from 2 weeks to 3 weeks. Extend hours at the polls, start an hour earlier and go an hour later. If resources are available, create more sites for voting. We need to make provisions for anyone that may have tested positive and is quarantined. Thank you.
That concludes the questions. Now time for the closing statement.
Reclaim our republic, restore our Constitution. America has moved further away from its founding principles of protecting life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Big government has driven America more than $26 trillion in debt while trampling our liberties and our country's independence and our way of life. Does this sound like a country of life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness that our founders envisioned? Government was instituted to protect and secure our God-given rights, not abuse them. America is in crisis. We need to restore liberty, not restrict it. We need to shrink oversized government, not continue to expand it. We need to abolish unconstitutional programs, not create them. Observe limited, enumerated powers of our Constitution, not ignore them. America needs leadership in Washington. I'm a retired Navy pilot and a community leader. I'm endorsed by the Republican Liberty Caucus. I am a tested, trusted patriot seeking the Republican Party nomination for U.S. Representative, Florida Congressional District 1. Who better than a veteran to represent veterans? Congressional District 1 has more veterans than any other district in the nation. I invite you to visit my website to learn more about who I am at johnmillsforcongress.com. Together, we can make a difference. I ask for your support. I ask for your vote on August 18th. Thank you and God bless.
That was Mr. John Mills, and those are the candidates for U.S. Congress District 1. And that wraps up our final race of the night. We thank you for joining us. Rally 2020 will return tomorrow night at 8 p.m., and that's when we'll meet the candidates for Florida House District 4. We'll also meet the candidates for a number of other races in Santa Rosa as well as Okaloosa counties. In Santa Rosa, we'll meet the candidates for Superintendent of Schools, County School Board Districts 2 and 4, as well as County Commission Districts 1, 3, and 5.
In Okaloosa County, we'll hear from the candidates in the races for Superintendent of Schools, County School Board District 2, and County Commission Districts 1, 3, and 5. We hope you will join us again right here on WSRE-TV tomorrow night at 8 as we continue with Rally 2020.
And remember, you can watch the candidate statements on our website or on YouTube. Our thanks to the League of Women Voters for their participation in this program and to Pensacola State College. Have a great night.